Here we go.
Well, hello there, you beautiful, beautiful, amazing, wonderful people. I hope you are all well on this fantabulous, fantabulous Friday. Is it going to be fantabulous? Who knows? Who knows? It's early in the day, and usually someone comes along and spoils it. But look, this is video 1 of 3, and we're going to be starting in Ada County. Ada County, baby. Ada County, as that is where the trial is going, and we have a new judge as well. So we're going to talk about that first, but then later on we're going to be touching on a couple of things that have been requested regarding the Jay Slater case. So let's get straight into the meat and potatoes. So we have confirmation that we have the change of venue for the Idaho 4 case, which is arguably a good move, but there is a caveat to that. Look, so we've all kind of considered that the Idaho 4 case needs a change of venue, and I think a lot of us feel that way because of how we have seen the case being handled in the court of Judge John Judge. Judge John Judge, to me, and this is only my perception, this doesn't mean that it's true, it doesn't mean that it's real, it just means that that's the way that I've seen things, and I've kind of seen Judge John Judge as someone who has appeared quite weak, whether that is just the way that he operates, and maybe that's his style. You know, lots of judges have different styles, and maybe his style is more of a relaxed sort of chill out, laying back and when the defense talks, who knows. But yeah, he's always seemed a little bit weak. Now, I've seen comments saying that he has pretty much given the defense everything that they've wanted. I would say that that's arguably a stupid statement to make, but look, we all see things differently. I've just seen him to be a little bit weak. But look, it doesn't matter anymore because he's out of there. Bryan Kohberger is likely, as we speak, being transferred over to Ada County, where they will take over the holding of him until the trial commences. And I would say there's definitely going to be a trial. Some people have questioned as to whether this move means that they will look into it differently. They will decide that there isn't enough evidence and they will kick it out. I don't think we're going to see that happen. I do believe that we are going to go to trial. The question will be is whether the trial will remain at the same date, 2nd of June 2025, that we have already set. So time will tell on that. But it's clear that what this new judge will do, he will look to formulate his own structure, he will set some deadlines, he will set some things that he wants to see here, and he will hopefully be a little bit more assertive than the aforementioned Judge John Judge. But look, even though there are some good things about Ada County in terms of the population, we saw this being spoken about with respect of how the numbers play a part of how bias works in the community. Obviously, if you have 65% of people in a place that is a real small population, and you have the same 65% but a huge comparable, that's not even a word, you know, when you compare the size, what I'm trying to say is 65% of say 500,000 is different than 65% of 25,000. Do you know what I mean? It's late in the week. No, my brain, I'm getting old. 44 years old. It's over for me. I'm only kidding. Yeah, so in terms of the population, it's a much larger population, so you would hope that the percentage does play a part of it. But the downside is 65% of, say, 500,000 versus 65% of 25,000, it's still more people. It is still more people. And guess what? This is also Dylan Mortenson's hometown. Now, Dylan Mortenson's not a victim. She's not a victim who lost their life, but she is someone who was part of this. She was in the house at the time. She was a a victim by association of the tragedy, if we want to go down that route. I would rather call her a potential witness, but that's by and by. We've given her some slack. Do I mean slack or flack? We've given her slack and flack. Flack and slack. But yeah, this is her hometown, so is that going to play a part in how this goes? Is there going to be a lot of support for one of their hometownians? And has there just been a big mistake made? Because by moving out of Moscow, Idaho, and over to Ada County, Boise is also problematic in that he loses, and this is Bryan Kohberger, loses a degree of support as well. And it's interesting that they didn't really go heavy on what that meant, because we know that in Moscow, Idaho, we have Doug Wilson and Christchurch movement, and they have a massive problem with law enforcement in Moscow, Idaho. Huge problem. Huge. They are talking about a potential civil war that's going to happen there. And the Christchurch movement in Moscow, Idaho is building numbers. They're gaining numbers, they're gaining support. And a lot of the people who are within that Christchurch movement had apparently been told by Doug Wilson. Did I say Doug Bishop earlier? One of your neighbours. Neighbours. Can't remember. Doug Bishop. Where have I got that name from? Anyway, I digress. So Doug Wilson, he had basically told people, look, if you find yourself on a fucking jury, mate, you need to take what they say with a pinch of salt. Have an open mind, because we know that they will lie on the stand, because we've seen it ourselves. And that's interesting, because they have walked away from a potential support network, a network of people who quite possibly would have had more of an open mind. And again, those numbers are growing, which translates into a high percentage of that relatively low community. So did they make a mistake? Time will tell. I think that the thing is, we're idiots, because if we'd have got the change of venue blocked, we'd have been kicking off about it. We then get a change of venue, and now we're looking and thinking, was this the best thing that could have happened? Was it the best thing that could have happened? I think what would have been the best thing to happen would have been that if you would have potentially just got rid of all the legal representation, got a different judge in, perhaps got different prosecution team, and perhaps retained, I don't know, I'm going to dig myself a hole here. You're never happy. We're never happy, are we? We're never happy. But at the end of the day, it's done. It's done deal. And yeah, his trial is now in Dylan Mortenson's hometown. Yes, there is a huge population in comparison, and hopefully those numbers will reflect in a less biased jury pool when the time comes. But what do you think? Was this a good move? Was it a bad move? Should they have stayed in Moscow, Idaho? Should they have been able to leverage that Christchurch movement and the fact that there would have likely been a lot of people who may have been more open to giving the accused more benefit of the doubt? I don't know. Like I say, I'm never happy. Whenever something happens, I'm always looking for both sides of it. And this change of venue, even though from the outset probably looks like a good thing and we feel that it's a good thing, I fear that we potentially may have seen a mistake. I can feel it in my bones. You know, when you look at, some people look at Bryan Kohberger and they say, oh, look at him in the eyes, he's got weird eyes, dangerous eyes. Yeah, I've got that feeling. Now it's happened and that ship has now sailed. Feel a little bit uncomfortable. Let me know how you feel about it. And I'll catch you all later today.